Pleasure to be here. I think what you guys have done at Little Big Beat Studios is really innovative, and we've got to look at things differently in order to make new things happen. And this environment feels new. It feels like a real combination of a TV studio and a recording studio, but neither of those things is getting in the way of what we're here for, which is the music, you know.
What you got going on behind doors, eyes closed, holding on.
There's all kinds of things that can be done, and we're all having to think a little bit out of the box now. What's 2021 going to look like? What's 2022 going to look like? It's probably not going to look like you do an album, you do a tour, you do an album, you do a tour. It's probably going to look different. So maybe those of us that are always looking for the future are going to look to places like this and be like, so this place exists in Liechtenstein. That's a bit niche, but we can work with that. What can we do here? And the studio, the setup's great, the kit, the gear's great, the setup's great, the crew are lovely, the boys are great. It's important to do something different, and I mean, it's a really big space, but it doesn't feel like a big old TV studio. It feels really nice and really intimate, and the fact that the audience are on headphones with you, it means that when you're producing the mix down live in the studio, you know that everyone in the room's getting your feed, which is kind of cool. They're not getting what I'm hearing because I'm like literally doing it, but they're getting what a producer would hear if you were in the studio laying down a minty take of one of your tracks, and that's a pretty unique experience, I think. I mean, only bands would ever get that, you know? So it's almost like offering the studio experience that bands get to everyone, which is kind of amazing. I love that idea.
Glasgow 2000. I'm standing in a field. You're making me reveal, babe, exactly where I stand.
I think it's because it's interesting that you pick up on the fact that there's a bit of urgency in my music, and I think in the fact that I started late. So even from the first single in 2006, I was already too late. Okay, maybe I've overcompensated a little bit. I've released like 14 albums in 15 years. Okay, so maybe I was overcompensating a little bit. But I wanted to have already existed forever, but immediately. So instead of doing one album every 5 years, I wanted to get, in 5 years' time, I want you to think, oh, Fink's been around for ages. He's done like 4 albums already. He's been around since 2000 or something, you know? And I love studio time. So the equation for us was always, it's this, this holy trinity of making music, which is the writing process, the studio game, and the live tour. And the dream is for those to be equal. Or whichever one you like the most is the thing you do the most. But writing takes 6 months, recording would take 6 months. Fantastic. Tour, 6 months. Perfect. But in the early days, the writing can take 6 months. The studio time is 10 days, because that's all you can afford. And the tour is 2 years. So you end up being like, all right, I'm a touring guy, not a studio guy, but I want to be the studio guy. I want to go into the studio for 6 months, like, you know, Led Zeppelin or something, and do that. So we were fighting all the time to drag it, to make those more equal. And we've got a better balance now than ever before. But it's amazing, until something gets taken away from you, you don't really know what you're going to miss. And live music has been withdrawn from our, normal life for the past year. And me and all of my live friends, we're all kind of like, I just want to go to a crap festival where it's raining and the rider is shit and the beer is warm. Yes, let's go. I really miss this, all the bands I know, and me included, would go like, Yeah, we got a really busy summer of like loads of festivals. You know, got to do like loads of festivals. Ugh. And now it's just kind of like, just give me a festival. Just I'll do anything. I'll do it for nothing. You know, just let me get out of the house. So yeah, it's amazing what you miss when it goes. But I guess the thing is with studio time is it's a bit like a tattoo in a way. You know, once you've done the mix down, it's done. And you want to make sure that it's the best it can be, but then next week you're going to think so differently about it, and after the tour you would have done a much better version of it, and you're always changing your relationship with all of your songs all the time. So, and which is why we don't really listen to the albums when we've done them, because we know that as soon as we've done a live tour, we know that all the rules are changed, the intro's different. There's a triple chorus over there now, and I can sing it better, and I know it better, and you know. Well, it was more like the journey for me from DJ and producer to like musician and singer-songwriter, and then awareness that I had a voice came from working with other vocalists. You know, in the late 90s, it was all about anonymous DJs and electronic music, and I was very much part of that revolutionary ninja tune type. You know, that's the chorus was dead, the song is dead, the band is dead, singers are dead, guitarists are dead, anything that my parents listened to is gone. The future is Aphex Twin and Orbital and so on and so on. I really believed that. To be honest, when like the lawyers got involved in the early noughties and samples became illegal, and all of a sudden all of us that had a career sampling old records and making beats, we kind of didn't have a career anymore. So we looked to bands like 07 and Groove Armada, who were somehow transitioning into being real bands. And Air was a big, when we heard Moon Safari, we were like, what? So I worked with a bunch of singers trying to make an album with singers. And in the process of making that record, I would record rough vocal demos to sort of say to the singers, this is kind of what I'm thinking of. And I realized that they didn't know it was me singing. So my singing voice is different from my normal voice. So the fact that they didn't know it was me gave me a load of freedom all of a sudden. So I didn't tell my record company either that it was me. I said it was a session guy, a new young hot guy I found in America, and the guitarist wasn't me either. It's a cool young guy I found in Brighton, and in order for them to give me honest feedback, you know, as in the vocalist is awful, he should go, you know, because they wouldn't have said that if they'd have known it was me. But they're like, this guy's really good, can we get him for the tour? And I'm like, funny you should say that, because it's actually me, so I'm free. So solo's not something I'm afraid of at all. But studio work is such a delight. One of the things about doing studio sessions, which is so great, is that it's not a new song that you don't really know at this point. You're just trying to get the best take down. It's songs that you know real well. So you're like, this song's gonna sound great.
Come so far, it feels so real, yeah.
In a studio environment, there's nothing to go, you know, sonically wrong. There's no noisy audience, it's not going to rain, there's no PA bleeding back on you. All the problems with live don't exist. It's just like, and you can wear headphones. I mean, so you get like this super nice, super clean sound, and you can hear your voice and go, okay, what can we do together today then?
Where we're going to, yeah.
You know, what do the guitars sound like through the plates, and, you know, how are they going to behave today? How do they feel today? One of them feels good, one of them's not sure, one of them's just ready to go. I can feel it, you know. I don't really have any expectations, because I know that when I do a gig or a solo show, I'm so absorbed into myself that I'm not really aware of the impact or whether people are enjoying it. I'm just drawing as much of myself as I can and putting it out there. But one thing I am starting to learn more and more as I get older is that if you enjoy it, it will be better. If you're just sat there going like, this must be perfect, this riff must be perfect, this line must be perfect, this run must be great, you end up, that's your show. You have a show in your head, and it's just a checklist of, yeah, you got that one, yeah, you nailed that one, yep, solo sounded good. Really, you've just got to kind of like, for the first 30 seconds, you're in technical mode. Does the voice sound good? Is the mic good? Is it the same as the sound check? Have the people in the room changed the sound? You kind of like that, but I've got a good track to start with, which road tests all of that. And so I road test it all, and then you're like, okay, this is the show. So, you know, do your best. You know, have a good time, you know? So I'm going to give you the next guitar, which is going to be called Festi. Festi like festival. Festi. And it will be this signal. Well, the process of songwriting, yeah, is a different vibe for everyone. But for me, I tend to have riffs floating around over here, guitar riffs or things like that, tunes, and then I have the lyrics and scraps of lyrics and ideas for songs floating around here. And so sometimes you'll have a lyric, and the lyric will say, it's like one of those card games for kids. So the lyric will be like, there's a matching card on the other side, can you find it? And you go through your riffs, and that riff just totally fits that lyric. It's like, oh, the vibe's the same. It's sad, but it's not too sad. It's masculine, but it's not too strong, and all this stuff. And so I tend to try and like match make these two things that are constantly floating around.
One by one, we watch the stars come out.
I write a lot of lyrics, to be honest, but I try and be really economical about it, because one, I've got to remember them when I play it live. I don't know how the rappers, don't know how Jay-Z does a gig. He's got more lyrics in one of his songs than my whole set, you know, I don't know how they do it. And two, I want to be able to, I come from this blues perspective where minimalism is the impact. You know, you can get a lot across with a minimal economic songwriting, but a lot of power and a lot of energy. If you just pile in the lyrics constantly, you don't have time to express yourself or let the audience process anything, because you're just lyric. It's nice. The old blues guys, they'll drop a line, and then you got loads of space to go, wow, that's yeah, or, you know. And then they'll drop the next line, you'll be like, oh, wow. When I did my blues album, it was amazing because the economy you had to be so economical. Nothing could be no fat on it at all. It was really interesting. You kind of get into performance, not in a fake way, not in a pretending way, but just in a kind of like, this lyric needs to be felt and then pushed out so that you feel it. And I can't fake that. You know, Harry Styles can go on stage and fake whatever he likes, and it's great, good for him, but I just can't turn it on or off. So all my songs have to be real, they have to be honest. And when I play Warm Shadow tonight, I'm going to transport myself to the bedroom in Paris where I wrote that song and why I wrote it, and sort of try and embody it. You know, I just can't turn it on and off like an emotional switch, just can't do it.
Small beginnings, big endings. Small beginnings.
Thanks, Little.
Thank you.